Girl, you better buckle up because we have a lot to talk about today. What is up, you guys? For today's video, I'm going to share with you guys how to get this smoky, sultry, storm-inspired look using the brand new Morphe Blue Ya Way palette. And seriously, the color story of this palette is so cool. Like, look at this. It is literally such a beautiful palette. And I love that it's cool tone too because you just don't see palettes like this all that much. But nonetheless, if you'd like to see how I did this look using this palette as well as my thoughts and opinions about it, then just stay tuned on watching. And before we jump into it, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button down below and gave this video a like. And also, if you'd like to check me out on Instagram, my Instagram account is @lethal_kitten. So today we are going to be testing out the brand new Morphe Blue Ya Way palette, and oh my gosh, I just love the color story of this palette. It is truly a breath of fresh air in my opinion. A lot of palettes right now releasing seem like they're either like super warm tone or they're like pink, and I don't know, I just feel like this palette is a definite different vibe, and I just really enjoy the colors in here. I mean, like, look at this really pretty powder blue shade. It is so stunning in the pan, and I also like these like deeper blues too. It is seriously such a gorgeous palette. But before we jump into using the palette, I do want to prime my eyelids first, and today we are going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. So once you have those babies all nice and primed, now we can jump into using the palette. And man, I don't know which shade I want to go in with first because part of me wants to go in with this really pretty steel tone gray because it just has like this gorgeous blue undertone to it. But then the other part of me is like, no, let's use the one that catches our eye, which is this beautiful powdered blue. I think I want to go in with a powdered blue though because it is so pretty in the pan, and that one is called Indiglow. Then using this BH Cosmetics No. 5 brush out of the Lavender Luxe set, I'm going to be applying this directly into my crease. I'm also using it to round out my outer V, as well as the inner third of my lid, since we are going to be doing a halo style, I think, today. So I'm just going to go in with a second layer of this shadow just to see if we can kind of build it up a little bit. But I will say this is definitely a 2-dip kind of shadow. Like, you need 2 layers if you want it to look like it does in the pan. But I will say, like, formula-wise, it is really nice. There's a good amount of pigmentation to it. It's not chalky, and it doesn't get dusty or weird. And that's kind of a downfall I have with pastel shades, and this one actually has a really nice formula to it. I cannot get over how stunning this eyeshadow is. Like, seriously, you could probably just wear this on its own and it would be stunning. But the next shade that we are going to be going in with is that really pretty steel toned gray, and that is called Headliner. Then using this No. 7 brush out of the Lavender Luxe set from BH Cosmetics, I'm going to be applying this right into my crease. And I'm also using it to round out my outer V, as well as the inner third of my lid. And then once you have it applied, I'm just going to just start doing these little circular motions to blend that upwards. So after working with this shadow and, you know, building up the color and blending it out, I've noticed it looks slightly uneven on the eye, and I'm so upset about that because I just love the color of it and I love the undertone. Like, seriously, this shadow is so unique, but you can really see it like right in here. It just has like a little bit of unevenness to the pigmentation and the overall blend with it. And then you can really see it on this side, like right in here, and then in my outer V. This look right now is definitely reminding me of a thunderstorm. You know, like those clouds in the sky where they have like that grayish blue tinge to them? That's kind of like the vibe I'm getting from it. But the next shade that we are going to be going in with is this really pretty brown shade in the palette called So Dazzlin'. And then using this BH Cosmetics No. 6 brush out of the Lavender Luxe set, I'm going to be applying it directly into my crease, using it to round out my outer V as well as the inner third of my eye. I was going to go in with a shimmery black, but I don't know, I just wanted to kind of mix it up, and I really enjoy this brown in the palette because I like that it's like a cool tone brown, but it just has like this little hint of purple to it too, so I felt like it would really pair well with this look. But man, it is so pretty. Now I'm just going to go in with a second layer just to build things up a little bit, but man, I love this purpley brown shade. Because like with this look, it just turned into like this really pretty like deepened charcoaly purple color. It is so stunning. And it just pairs so well with these smoky blues that we have going on. I absolutely adore how stormy this look is looking. It is just so cool and just so different. I don't think I've ever done a look with these types of colors, and if I have, it has been a really long time. But I will say, like, after trying out these couple of shadows, I don't know how I feel about the palette so far. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the color story of it, and I love like the full-on vibe of it, but like the colors that we've used, like other than the powder blue was amazing, and I seriously absolutely adore it. The other two though, they're just really kind of patchy and uneven on the eyes. I'll show you guys what I mean up close and kind of like focus my camera. But you can see like right in here, they just look slightly uneven with the blend. And on this eye, it's like really noticeable. Like it just looks so chunky. But don't get me wrong, like it's not like a bad blend. It's just not where I'd want it to be. So I mean, it's able to be worked with. It's just, I don't know, I just wish it was a little bit better because the colors are so unique and just so pretty. This is by far one of the most unflattering angles of my face, but you know what? This is how I can show you guys what I'm talking about better. But when I tilt my head up, you can just see like how chunky it looks like right in here. Please don't look up my nose though. That is literally my fear. Somebody's gonna be like, I can see something in your nose. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, ah. But you can kind of see it like right in here though. It just looks a little uneven. This eye I was able to get a little bit better because I've been working with it a little bit more. But this eye, you can really see like how chunky it is. Like right in here. And like right in here. It's just really hard to blend these colors out. So after you blend those shadows out where you want them to be, I'm just gonna cut my crease real quick in a halo style off camera, and then I'll be right back. So once you cut that crease and the base is 100% dry, now we are going to be going in with probably the most sparkly shade out of this palette, and that is called Standing O. It's like this really pretty like icy purple with like a hint of blue to it. And then using this damp and flat shader brush, I'm going to be packing it anywhere that we cut our crease. And when I'm doing this, I'm really making sure that I am pressing it in. Okay, am I going crazy or did that not apply like any shimmer? Like I don't see any. So let's do a second layer and see if we can maybe get some glitter on it. I mean, I see like a little bit more. This is what it looks like if you dip your finger in it in the pan, but like that does not look like what I have on my lid. But you know, let's put it on the lid, I guess. See what happens. Maybe you have to just use your finger with the shadow. I mean, it's getting there. Man, I really wish that that shimmer was a little bit extra sparkly because like in the pan, it is so gorgeous. And then once you have it applied, it just kind of looks like a basic shimmer. It doesn't have like the depth it does in the pan. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed the undertone of it. But now we're going to start blending in our cut crease with the other situation that we have going on. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit more of that brown shade that we used earlier. And I'm going to use this little flat shader brush out of the Morphe eye brush set. And I'm just packing this right along that harsh line and then starting to flick it inwards to blend the two colors together. And then you'll want to do the exact same thing on the inner portion of the eye. I want to show you guys what happened, but when I was blending out these edges of the cut crease, I don't know if you can see it, but like the shadow like lifted right here. And that was that like chocolatey brown shade. And I'm going to show you guys like how I've been trying to fix it. So I'm just taking a little bit more of that on this BH number 7 brush, and I'm like packing it in. You see what I mean though? It just doesn't want to like go away. And the more that you do this, the more that it lifts up in other spots. It's just really tricky to work with. It seems like the deeper shades in this palette though are just, they're not that good to blend out. Like they're kind of tricky and just hard to work with. So here's where I'm at right now with the look. And honestly, I was so excited about this palette when I first initially opened it. I mean, like if you love cool tones and you love blues, like this palette has such a beautiful color story to it. And then I started trying it out and now I just have really mixed feelings about it. Let me know in the comments down below like what you're thinking about it. But for me, I definitely have like a couple thoughts about it. But nonetheless, off camera, I'm just gonna kind of clean things up a little bit as well as apply my complexion products, and then I'll be right back. So here's where I'm at right now after applying my complexion products, and I just absolutely adore the colors of this. They're just so cool. It's kind of like stormy yet icy at the same time. And also today I decided to do an ombre lip color, and I normally never do this. I don't know why I don't. I always like the look of it. I just kind of forget to do it. And today I used the Hydro Matte from Gerard Cosmetics in the shade Gravity. It is seriously such a beautiful like grayish purpley tinge. And then in the center I used Lime Crime's Moonstone, which is kind of like a grayish lavender. And these seriously are the best combination, and they just have such a cool vibe to them. So first things first, I'm just going to line my waterline using the Buxom Gel Liner Pencil in the shade Call Me, which is just a black liner. And then when I'm doing this, I'm just going to look upwards, and then I'm going to smoke it downwards slightly using the pencil. And then before that liner sets in place, now we are going to start smoking it downwards, and I want to try something a little bit different, so we are going to be going in with this shade called Sapphired Up. And using this Luxie 231 small tapered blending brush, I'm just going to use it to smoke down that lower lash line. And that literally did a whole lot of nothing for me. I don't see a difference after applying that shadow. I thought it would give it like a little hint of like a bluish grayish look, but I don't see anything. Or maybe I'm going crazy. Do you guys see anything? So I'm just going to go in with that matte gray that we used earlier instead, and then just start doing a back and forth motion. So once you smoked out that lower lash line, now we can do my favorite part, which is the inner corner highlight. And the shade that we are going to be going in with is a super sparkly shimmery shade called Behind the Scenes. Then using a dampened Moda Brushes Smoky Eye Brush, I'm going to be packing this into my inner corner. And I'm also bringing it underneath the inner tear duct area to open up the eye. And when I'm doing this, I'm bringing it about a third the way in, if not a little bit more. Just because we have a super smoky look on, and the more smoky you get, if you don't do a really heavy inner corner highlight, it kind of almost makes your eyes look super small. And I've noticed when I start smoking the lighter shade downwards, it just opens them up just a little bit more. Okay, but that shade though is super sparkly. Like, I love that. That's actually really, really pretty. Low-key, I kind of wish I would have put that on the lid. So here's a finished look using the Morphe Bluey Away palette, and I gotta say, I really enjoy the colors in here, and I really enjoy the smoky, almost sultry vibe that we got with it. It kind of reminds me of a thunderstorm too with the colors, but nonetheless though, I do want to give you guys my thoughts and opinions about this palette. Girl, you better buckle up because there is a lot we need to talk about today, but first of all, let's talk about the color story of this palette, and I gotta say, I absolutely adore it. It is super unique in my opinion too. What I like about it though is that it is a gray blue palette, and it is not a blue-orange palette. It seems like a lot of palettes recently that have blues in them always have like these warm tone shades, you know, like oranges or like really chocolatey browns that have like a little bit of warmth to them. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like those are really pretty and all, but I love that this one is just a little bit different. And also what's really nice about this one too is that it has just a little bit of purple to it too. So let's talk about the formula, and this is where I have a lot to say. And the shade that I actually really enjoyed the most was this powder blue shade right here. Like seriously, the formula of it is so nice. It is super pigmented, very easy to blend out, and also it isn't chalky. A lot of pastel shades for me are just really dusty and hard to work with, and this one actually had a really nice formula to it. However, the other mattes that we used, you know, like the slate gray and that purpley brown shade, like they're really pretty in the pan, but unfortunately the formula just is not my favorite. What would happen is I would apply them and I'd be like, oh, she's cute, I really enjoy this. And then I'd start to buff it out, and then it would start to look really uneven on the eyes and just be really tricky to blend out further. Like it would just give me like random harsh lines or just look kind of chalky almost on the eye. And then also what would happen is I would pack it down and then I'd buff out the edge, and then it would start lifting in certain spots. So they were just really tricky to use for me, and unfortunately because of that they are not my favorite. Another thing I want to say though too is those two deeper matte shades were honestly just a little bit dusty too. So what would happen is when I was blending them out, they would start kind of going like this on my eyes, and my eyeshadow look would just get a little bit more smoky each and every time I would start buffing them out. So do keep that in mind if you do use those shades. With the shimmers that we used today, honestly, they were hit and miss depending on the shade. For instance, this purpley blue shade that we used on the lid is so pretty in the pan. It is super sparkly and super glittery. And when I was applying it dampened with a brush, like it just did not want to stick to my lid like whatsoever. It just literally applied like practically nothing. But I will say though, when I used my finger, I was able to get the pigmentation that I was looking for, but I definitely could not get it with a brush. Another shimmer that I just really wasn't impressed by was that icy blue shade that we used to try to smoke out the lower lash line. I don't know what is up with that one too. Like it was a lot like that bluish purple one where like when I was trying to smoke it out, it applied like literally no product. And that is probably going to be another one of those shimmers you'll want to use with your finger. The silver shade right here that we used in the inner corner is seriously so nice. I absolutely adore how it looks. It is so sparkly and it just has such a beautiful shine to it. So when it comes down to it, would I recommend the Morphe Bluey Away palette? And honestly, I don't really feel like this palette is worth it. Like, don't get me wrong, it isn't like the worst palette I've ever used, nor is it like, oh my gosh, the best thing ever. But again, it's just not my favorite, and it was really tricky for me to use. Like, I absolutely adore the color story in here, and I love the look that I got with it, but to be able to get this look, it took me so much time and just so much extra work blending out some of the shades, especially those deeper mattes. They were so tricky to use. So for me, I just don't feel like this palette is worth checking out, and if you'd like to check out really awesome Morphe palettes that I personally like the Such a Gem palette, which is a beautiful pink and purple palette. I also like the Dare to Create palette, which is kind of like a neutrally, almost earthy kind of palette. And I also really enjoy the brand new Hit the Lights palette. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look. And as always though, I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button down below and give this video a like. And also, if you'd like to check me out on Instagram, my Instagram account is @lethal_kit. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!